Welcome, I'm CuddlyJay, and today we are in Albion Online, and we'll be looking at the fun budget build for the Great Hammer. Now this is for PvE, and I really wanted to get into hammers. I've never really used hammers before, so I thought I'd start off with the Great Hammer, and I have to say I actually quite enjoy this weapon for PvE. It feels really good and it feels very powerful. So let's get straight into this budget build. So we're starting off with the Great Hammer. As you can see, it is a two-handed weapon. It's very budget friendly indeed on the auction house, and for our first ability we're going with Threatening Strike. This is a damage buff. You strike the targeted enemy dealing 254 physical damage. It increases your threat generation by 400% for 3 seconds. We're not using it for the threat generation, we're purely using this for the damage, which is 254 physical damage. That's the only reason we're using this. The cooldown on this is very good too. It's only 2 seconds, so you can always spam this in between auto attacks or other abilities, so it's really good and handy for us. For our next ability, we're going with the Heavy Smash. Now this is different. This is pure damage, so basically you'll pick where you want to slam your hammer down, and you'll pound it into the ground in front of you with your hammer and create a cone in front. This cone will deal 736 physical damage at the impact of the hammer, and then 676 physical damage in the rest of the cone area. Now for Tackle, this is the main ability for the Great Hammer. This is a damage crowd control mobility ability called Tackle. So yeah, you'll just pick where you want to dash to, and then you'll press your button and you'll dash to that location. You'll pass through all of the enemies, and every enemy you pass through you will hit, and it will knock them back, all those enemies, by 2.68 meters, and it will also stun them for 3.15 seconds. You'll also deal 185 physical damage with this ability. I like to use this ability with interrupting enemies and so forth. You know, you go through them when they're casting their spells or their attacks, and then especially in PvE, you'll be able to interrupt their abilities and stun them. And while we're talking about that, we're going to talk about the Stunning Strike passive. This is the one I use. Every 5 auto attacks, you stun the targeted enemy for 0.58 seconds. The main reason I've gone with this is for larger groups. I just like it because sometimes you can stun an enemy with it, especially if you know which, attack is the stun attack. But you might want to go for energetic as well. I'll leave this up to you when you use this weapon and this build. Each auto attack restores 4 energy. Personally, I'm going to go and stick with the Stunning Strike, but I could see why people might want to use energetic with this specific budget PvE build. The next thing we're going to go with is the Mage Cowl. I needed some damage for larger groups of enemies, but you can use this on single targets, of course, as well. And for it, you're going to go with Fire Breath. This is a damage ability. Breathe fire in a cone in front of you, dealing 425 magical damage over 3 seconds to all enemies it hits. So if you can group up enemies, you can just breathe this right in front of you, and they all get lit in a light by the fire. Or you can just use it on single targets to help out and kill single targets even faster. Then for my passive, I went with Aggression, which increases all your damage in healing cast. I just did it mainly for the damage here by 3.5%. Next, we're going to go with the Stalker Jacket. I went with this because I wanted more damage and AoE abilities, so if I had a bunch of enemies around me, I could just press this and use it, and that is the Electric Field ability. This is pure damage. Unleash an electric field in a 6-meter radius around you, lasting 5 seconds. Deal 61 magical damage to all enemies within the field every 0.5 seconds. And then for my passive, I went with Swiftness, which increases your auto attack speed by 12%. If you want, you could go for one of these other ones like Quick Thinker or Balanced Mind. It's really up to you, but I just enjoyed Swiftness is pretty much my choice. And I have to say, the Electric Field, I always love grouping up enemies and pressing this, and then comboing it with the Mage Cowl, the Fire Breath. So yeah, usually I'll put them all on fire and pop the Electric Field, or vice versa, and it does massive damage to groups of enemies. Now for our sandals of choice, I went with the Cleric Sandals, as you can see, and for our first ability we're going with Energetic Sprint. This is a buff ability. You will start to sprint, increasing your move speed by 80% for 5 seconds. This is very handy. You can pop this and just run around and dodge attacks and all with this, or just run, through areas faster and so forth. It's kind of a win-win in my opinion. And then we've gone with the restores 9 energy every 1 second. basically, the main reason I chose this was my energy kept going pretty damn low with this. So what was a budget-friendly way to, fix that? I went with these, the Cleric Sandals. You pop this when you're low in energy, and boom, you get all of your energy back. It's very helpful and very handy indeed. And then for your passive, I just went with Aggression to increase my damage by 3.5%, because why not? For the bag, we've just gone with a normal bag, and then for your cape, by the way, you can choose to go with this cape of my choice here, or you can go with just a normal cape. It is a budget build, so going with a normal cape is totally fine. It will work with a normal cape. I just wanted an extra bit of damage, so I went with a Fat Foot cape, and how this works is it does have a condition, activates when you perform an auto attack. Once it activates, it releases a chain lightning at the targeted enemy, which jumps to the closest enemy within 9 meters of the last enemy hit, dealing 173 magical damage with each hit. Can hit up to 4 targets, but it can't hit the same target twice. And as I said, I chose this because I wanted extra damage, alright? That was simple as it, more AoE damage, which would help me out. Now, if you don't want this one, you can also go with the Limehurst cape, which will help out with energy. That's also a very good option. Whenever you get to a low amount of energy, I believe it's 40%, and then use the Limehurst cape, use a spell, it will activate and get all of your energy back. You could probably do that with the Cleric Sandals, and it would add up it basically just means you never have to worry about energy. Now, for our potions and all, though. So for my poison potion, I went with this just for single target enemies. So this is if you're fighting a boss or something, or fighting a tougher enemy and you just want to poison them and kill them faster. And then for our soup and all, I went with a carrot soup, very budget friendly. Vegetable soup increases your health regeneration by 100% for 30 minutes. I use this all the time. Look how cheap it is, 616 per one. I enjoy it. As I said, this is a budget friendly PvE build for the Great Hammer, and it's more for newer players than your veteran players, and it's a lot of fun. It really is. I was surprised how good the damn Great Hammer is, and I think I'm going to go try out all the other hammers now, because yeah, I never used one before. So I do have one more recommendation instead of the Cleric Sandals. I forgot to mention this earlier, but let's say you're alright and you're using a Limehurst cape for your cape. I could recommend you use this instead. Use the Soldier Boots, go with the passive toughness to increase your defense, and then go with Rejuvenating Sprint. This will give you the 80% move speed just like the sandals, but instead of energy, it will heal you for 97 health over 5 seconds. That will at least give you some more health while you're fighting. I noticed in larger groups, fighting with health was, it wasn't really an issue, but just having those Soldier Boots might help you out a lot more. Another thing you could do, and this is totally off the top of my head, you could probably change the Stalker jacket to a Hellion jacket if you wanted more health over damage, but I really enjoy the damage. I think it's just a lot more fun to play with, so yeah, that's my opinion on that topic. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, it helps my channel grow. I love all the support, by the way, I appreciate it big time, and also, if you have any, recommendations for this build for others, leave it in the comments below. Maybe you've changed some things out. Maybe you don't like the Mage cowl I have. Maybe you don't like the armor I have. Maybe you've changed a different cape that I didn't mention. Just let us know in the comments below. I'm sure people would love to see your comments. Anyways, I'll see you all around, and I'll see you in another video maybe. Cheerio, everyone!